Hey guys, Dave with Nerdarchy hanging out with my buddy here, Ted.
How's it going?
And remember, for nerds by nerds. And today we want to rap a little bit about the Monster Manual. We did a review.
We talked about art. You guys talked about the artwork.
We talked about the artwork and kind of did a flip through. But today we were going to do something a little bit different. We want to actually talk about what's between the
what's actually in the pages, the actual part that's important for the game, the content.
The content.
So, first impression, art aside, what do you think?
Dude, I don't actually care about any of the bad art because I love the content in this book. And, dude, it is just packed with a shit ton of monsters.
You're talking 350 some odd pages, jam-packed with monsters. And my initial impression is that they didn't say, oh, well, let's give you so many bazillion forms of this, and let's, throw on lots of templates. Even though I love templates, they're just like, all right, we'll deal with that later. We're just going to give you 350 pages of monsters.
Yeah. And, well, let me ask you a question. Was there any monsters that you were looking for that weren't in here?
I don't think so. I mean, they hit more than what I was actually expecting.
There's actually one monster that I wanted in here that wasn't in here.
What did you
and it is kind of obscure, and I think no one else on the planet might care.
What's that?
But I was a little sad because I was just hoping, beyond hope, because they went back to a lot of the first edition and second edition stuff. I just wanted a quickling. Is it asking for too much? One quickling?
That harkens back for a while, but I mean, you got your flump, you got your all kinds.
Not just for dessert anymore, baby. Or no, that's flan.
You got your demons, you got your dragons, you got your slod, you got loaded up with undeads and all kinds of goblinoids.
Giants.
You got the giants.
You know what? I love the ecologies in here, and that's the big difference between 4th edition Monster Manual and 5th edition Monster Manual. 4th edition was very much about tactics and stat blocks and giving you the knowledge checks.
Right.
This is what you get for this DC.
Right.
Which all right. So that's kind of like interesting and useful information. But I so much love. They went back to the old school doing all the ecologies.
Let's look at the orcs, and they're going to sit back and say, okay, well, the orcs follow this god, and this is what's going on with him, and I love that. I love getting more details. And if you want to work from just straight out of the books, there's enough knowledge. You've got hobgoblin gods, you've got orc gods, you've got goblinoid gods, you got the giant histories.
And you get giant gods too. But a lot of that they gave you in the player's handbook in the back as well, like all the different deities from the various D&D worlds, the monstrous humanoid mythologies, as well as real world mythologies. So a lot of that was really cool. And two, I believe two of the giant gods are actually from Norse mythology. Sator for sure.
Right.
And then Therum, I think Therum was a frost giant one as well.
I think so. Don't feel free to correct us if we're wrong. But my Norse is not as good as it used to be.
Slacker. So the other thing is what they've done with Sucker Save is it's really weird what they did with it, actually, in the sense that they kind of like tried to put it back without putting it back. And I like it because honestly,
for our viewers who might not be second edition players, can you tell them what Sucker Save is?
Okay, so with 3rd edition they changed your saving throws. It was they changed it to Fort Reflex and Will, but before that it was like paralyzation and poison, death magic.
Petrification and polymorph
and what was like fireball?
I think that was just a save versus magic.
Yeah, this magic or spell. But so they had way more categories, which in essence they've gone back to that because we have 6 categories and we had like 5 or something before. But a lot of stuff in 1st edition and 2nd edition, if you failed your saving throw, you were just done. Or like the harm spell where it would drop you to a die
D4 hit points. Now, not saying anything against the harm spell. I was actually rereading it again today. You take like 14d6 necrotic damage, and if you fail your save, your hit points maximum is reduced by that amount.
Yeah, dude, that is the feature that I love, and it's a lot. It's in this book a lot with
necrotic damage under undead.
Yeah, because before, like, they got rid of the level drains,
Right.
and there is ability damage, but there's not a lot of it. Because I think the shadow zaps your strength.
Mm-hmm.
Which, you go to 0 strength, I believe they turn you into a shadow and you're just kind of boned. But yeah, the undead, they lower your maximum hit points with their damage, right? So it's essentially, for the combat, it's just like taking damage, right? Except you can't heal up because you're at your maximum. And so you have to survive the encounter. And then, you know, after a long rest, you're restored. Your maximum hit point levels get restored.
Right. Doesn't heal you that amount, but your maximum gets restored to normal.
Right.
And, you know, yes, if a non-evil character has their strength reduced to 0 by a shadow, they turn into a shadow in 1d4 hours later.
What the hell happens to an evil character? Oh my god, what happens to the evil characters? I need to know now.
Watts, please tell us.
That's hilarious that they put that in there.
Yeah, it's if a non-evil humanoid dies from this attack, a new shadow rises from the corpse 1d4 hours later. So it says corpse, so that means you still die.
Yeah, yeah.
But if you're evil, now you don't have to worry about coming back as a shadow.
Maybe they're like, screw you, hippie, you're going to hell and you will burn. Or whatever your bad afterlife is like. So, I guess you see that you're opened up to the troll.
I love one of the things that they've done in the book, and that's variants. They give you with just these little green boxes. Here's something else that you can do.
It's more like an aquamarine.
Okay, well, let's not dicker over colors, but
he said dicker.
I did on purpose even, but. I
don't care what you do with a porpoise, you pervert. So trolls, the little green boxes.
With the green boxes, you have the ability to alter pretty much however you want, within these guidelines for a variety of different monsters. And with the troll, you kind of go back to that whole hacking apart and limbs removed and decapitations.
That was very much first edition.
And that's I didn't play first, but I did play second, and that was over there in second. Now, the one sad part about this is you cut apart a troll, it's not growing new trolls anymore.
It actually never did, I don't think.
Oh, well, the DMs I've always played with
did it that way, yeah.
We're always doing that.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But, you cut a troll in half.
Well, I'll tell you why I did it. There was a
series?
No, there was a Dragon magazine with a short story, and the ogres had killed a troll. And they're like, this is and they're ogres, so they don't bother cooking their food. They're like, this is the greatest food ever. It keeps regrowing. We eat it and it grows. And like it ends with all the ogres at the end of the night getting belly aches.
Right. Yeah.
So basically they implied that some trolls are going to be popping out like baby aliens. I don't know.
So and that was cool, but I mean that's what I remember from second edition is that the limb would grow a new troll and the troll would grow a new limb.
But hey, and you know what, dude? It's your world. F it. If you want to chop up the trolls and you end up with 50 like gremlins or something because of.
I think we might need to go to that because I think that makes trolls that much more horrifying.
More suck. Make sure you didn't miss any.
But the interesting point about the trolls is you have that you can cut off their head and their head still can bite you if it lands in your square. It can't move. They don't give it the hop ability,
right?
But it can still bite you, but they end up making it a little bit easier to kill.
Dude, you know what I so want to do? If you have more than one troll, I want to have another troll throw the troll head at someone.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fastball special coming up. Nice.
But, they made the trolls a little bit easier to bring down. It shuts down their regeneration if they take fire or acid damage last turn. So they don't regenerate this turn. And if they start their turn with their regeneration not working at 0 hit points, then they're dead. So it's not just fire or acid damage that has to bring them down. It's literally just they have to be at 0 and have taken some fire or acid damage last round. So it's a little bit easier to bring them down. But as a way of compensation, one of the things you have is troll freaks. And just reading the last sentence of the paragraph, it says, A troll that eats a fey creature might gain one or more of that creature's traits. So
so they have a variant that's just fey creatures. If a troll eats a fey creature,
basically, I mean, it doesn't even have to say fey. If you wind up having a troll that you want to give some kind of special ability, you can just say he's been snacking on or eating more of these creatures, and if it's got some kind of special ability,
like resistance to fire or acid,
like resistance to fire or acid, you could give him, that kind of stuff. Now, the resistance to fire and acid means, yes, they're going to take less. But they're still in that situation where
they took damage.
They took damage.
Okay, immunity to fire or acid?
Well, then you're getting into craziness. But, yeah, I don't know what troll in their right mind is going to go eat a fire creature to gain resistance to fire, or eat enough of them that it's going to do that. That's...
Maybe it's a hobby. Maybe red dragons, a delicacy where they come from. It's like eating alligator tail. So that's... trolls, which is really cool. Like, I always love the variants on the trolls. Mm-hmm. Like, the two-headed troll was my favorite. Come on, it's an ant and it's a troll. It's a troll and it's just very cool. One of the complaints, speaking of dragons, that I heard is dragons are not magical enough in 5th edition. Because, like, in previous editions, they had they had sorcerer levels.
Right. So
they did a lot of spell casting.
Well, number one, when you're sitting at the table, this is your guidebook. It says monster manual, but it's by D&D, and when you're the DM, you make any changes you want. If you think dragons need to be able to cast more spells, then let them cast more spells.
Well, here's the thing, right? So here's how I feel about it. First of all, there's a variant, dragons as innate spellcasters, which so they get. I had figured it out, but I forget what it is. I think it's like they can cast from 1st to like 6th level spells or something. And 1 to 9 levels, 1 to 9 spells or something like that. It's not a lot, not like it was previous, but they do get magic,
right?
With the variant. But the other thing is too is their abilities, especially their legendary actions. And the lair actions and regional actions, I kind of feel like they're far more magical than they've ever been. They're doing cool stuff that isn't even in this. They're not spells you can cast.
They're still the titans that they were in previous editions. You're still not saying, okay, I'm going to walk into a dragon's lair and own that guy. You walk into a dragon's lair, you better be prepared, for the fight of your life.
You gotta freaking get there. Look, man, the regional effects under the black dragon, right? Land within 6 miles of the lair takes twice as long as normal to traverse, since the plants grow thick and twisted and the swamps are thick with reeking mud. So they totally like they slow you down before you even get there. You can't drink anything because they've poisoned the water just by being there. Mm-hmm. And everything is obscured by fog within 6 miles of the lair. And that's just a black dragon. The black dragons aren't as tough as some of the other ones.
What do you think the red's gonna be?
Well, yeah, and these are regional effects. They're more like flavor than anything, because you start getting into lair actions, and you got pools of water attacking you,
cloud of swarming insects,
magical darkness. I mean, that's some really cool thematic stuff. Yeah. So
you've got serious challenges to overcome, and the first would-be hero that decides, all right, this is 5th edition, I need to bring me down some dragons.
Well, I kind of feel like previous editions are like, oh, I'm a dragon, I cast spells. Mm-hmm. I use magic. Ooh. But in 5th edition, I feel like I'm a dragon, I am magic.
It definitely fits more into that dragons on a pedestal type situation, and would certainly lay tribute to humanoids of good or ill, paying homage to them for fear of their life.
So one of the other things too is I think the shadows, they do strength damage. So ability drain is back. Mm-hmm. There's a ton of stuff that poison you. And poison is weird in 5th edition in the sense that sometimes it's damage and sometimes it's a condition. Sometimes it's both.
Right.
Like when you're actually poisoned as the condition, it blows.
Right.
Because you're at a disadvantage to do pretty much everything.
That's right.
Take a dump, want to wipe your ass, disadvantage. it goes poorly. Disease is another thing, which also sucks a lot in 5th edition. Because what happens is it starts lowering your hit points, and you can't heal normally. You need magic to heal until you make that. Until you make
that save.
To make that saving throw, so you're just slowly withering away and dying.
It's never fun.
Never fun. We discussed the max hit point lowering from the Undead, which I like that feel. Petrification's another one. It gets dealt with a couple different ways in here. Like you have the most minor, which would be like the cockatrice. So if you get jacked by a crazy magical chicken, it's not so bad.
Right.
2 failed saving throws and you're petrified, but it's only for 24 hours. But the Gorgon, if the Gorgon or the Medusa gets a hold of you, you're done. You're a statue.
It's still 2 though, right?
Yeah, 2 saves. It's still 2 saves, and then you're boned. Gorgon, Basilisk, and Medusa.
Does the Beholder still get the Ray of Petrification?
I think it does.
So that's another one.
Yeah. Well, and of them all, though, I kind of feel like the Beholder and the Basilisk would be the worst. The reason being is the Basilisk actually eats the statues as food, right? So I could definitely see him like taking a bite out of one before moving on to the fight. Like, I'm just gonna take a snack, and then the Beholder, I could definitely see a Beholder going
breaking it.
Yeah, telekinesis, slam it against a wall or throw it in the air or something.
I always like the Beholders. I don't know.
We need another Timmy.
I don't know what's so crazy about them that finds them interesting, but I think they're neat.
You got any favorite monsters out of here yet?
Favorite read-throughs. I like the Giants. I don't know whether the previous editions had the ecology that actually gave
the ordering,
the actual bona fide hierarchy that just says, okay, if you are a storm giant, you are better. I'm a storm giant commoner. I am better than any other
the king
type
of the fire giant.
The king of the fire giant, and he knows it. Yeah. And it's like, wow.
Well, I love the way the hill giants figure it out. They're like, they're bigger than me.
But that hierarchy, it makes it interesting, and it like I said, it was just a good read to go through it. Just the amount of story behind it, and it's also like the god of the giants says, all right, you guys suck until you restore
until you unsuck
until you restore the world to the giants being in charge again. I'm just done with you. So that's like, wow, that's pretty neat. And it could give, it could give, ideas, sprung into my head of, okay, well, let's create a world where the giants are back in charge. Let's put the dragons as having, been hunted down or removed, and they're isolated if they're there at all. And the giants are in charge, and that god is the most prevalent.
Yeah, he's cool with them again. Actually, though, you just hit the nail on the head with that, because in this book, when they do the ecologies and I'm reading through the monsters, you get so many great ideas from that to seed your campaign with.
Right.
Which, we really lost that in 4th edition with, when they just went to like, this is a thing to fight stat block kind of way of doing it. And like for me, like I've always just enjoyed reading the books.
Right.
And I love reading this monster manual because there's so much good stuff in here.
I agree completely.
We have templates back, sort of. They're kind of weak and watered down.
There's 3 dragon templates, and one is for a half dragon, and it's nowhere near the half dragon of previous editions. It doesn't even talk about wings. You get a breath weapon, and you get a draconic look, and you get the resistance or immunity to your type. That's it. So it's not the +8 to strength from 3.5.
Yeah, we'll just have to glue wings on them or something.
And then you got your Shadow Dragon, you got your Dracolich, and if you have one, you can't have the other because there's not enough of life left in there. and the only other template in that book is a Myconid Spore Servant.
Yeah.
Which pretty much means your mental stats tank, and you really are just a slave of that particular Myconid. So it's not there's not anything that you can build your character up like there was in 3rd. And
a lot of the undead, which used to be templates, And also the lycanthropes, they kind of give the, well, if you end up with this thing, here's how it could work as a PC.
But I mean, it's not listed as a template, and I think that will come either in the Monster Manual 2, or there might be a splat book that's just templates.
Right, or maybe they address it in the DMG as well.
That's possible.
And their like monster creation or something.
And I've got some ideas of, well, how do I create this, or how do I create that? So it's something I gotta play around with. It's like, how do I make a skeletal creature, a zombie creature? Because beyond the humanoid, they used to have them.
Yeah. Well, I will say though, the way the stats are laid out and the way they do monster design in here, it's really easy to reskin stuff. So I don't feel like it's a huge issue. I mean, I feel like I could flip open to any of the undead and go, okay, what do they get, and tack it onto something else if I wanted to.
And to some point, yes, I do see that, but there is something to say about the exact, well, here's the template, apply it to said creature, and then there's no room for misinterpretation. There's no one who can say, excuse me, I think that's supposed to be a such and such. So I like that core. The book says specifically X. So you asked me about my favorite monster. What's your take? What's your favorite flip?
Man, I don't know if I got one yet, to be honest with you. Yeah, I really enjoy the way they do the undead. I've been thinking about the campaign I got coming up with you guys, my first 5e, and the monsters that I'm going to use. But dude, I honestly don't have a favorite yet.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of my favorites in here from previous editions, which is awesome. Size, you know what? Size matters. But you had mentioned in another video that the other sizes aren't here, but I think they just got folded in. To be honest with you, the above gargantuan. When you go to giants, like they actually list the heights, and I think they're all gargantuan under the giants now.
Right. Well, I don't think any of the actual giants ever got to colossal, and dragons certainly did.
There's no titans in here, is there?
Yeah.
Every once in a while I come across. There isn't many monsters, but as I flip through, I'm thinking,
there's your fluff.
There is the fluff. But yeah, so they condensed. Basically, they condensed it where basically gargantuan is the biggest, and I don't think we're going to see.
Well, what is the Tarrasque?
Gargantuan.
Is he only?
But he's like 50 foot. So I just think they're just going to do away with it. It's just kind of like you don't get bigger than gargantuan, but you can be bigger,
right?
But the size category is the same.
Okay.
Well, I think too with the theater of their mind style play, it matters less.
That's true.
Because there's not a lot of attacks of opportunity to worry about. The reach is important. Only when you're running away.
Maybe when they made that colossal red dragon, they looked at what the actual component cost was on that amount of plastic. So
they're like,
we can't do that again.
We're out. It can't happen anymore. Oh, dude, I was just reading the Gibbering Mouther today, and they are freaking fun. They like melt stone around them, and they eat you.
Yes, and if they eat you, you get to join them. And
dude, I so want to do. I guess you need an NPC to do it. I mean, you could do it with a player, but it's kind of a dick move. But I so want to do it where they take somebody out in front of the players, and then you see their mouth and eyes appear.
And it comes up.
And it clearly, like, the players can distinguish their voice, even if it's the gibbering madness that's speaking.
Yep.
And the eyes are definitely those eyes that you know. That is crazy.
Yeah, I had that same kind of thought when I read it. Not that I want to do it, but if it were to happen,
yeah. By chance, if one of my players get absorbed into a gibbering mouther.
Yeah. But you're looking at the what's the CR on that guy? It's funny is that in the listing it said challenge whatever, but then when you actually look at it later, it does still use the old term of CR.
Oh yeah, so the challenge. Well, that's the thing too. The challenge ratings all seem a lot lower than they were. So that
I think this book has got a diverse amount. But I mean, in our previous videos, we've talked about how, you know, something as simple as an orc can get a longer play time as a monster. So it's a longer threat. I had 6 characters in my last session, and I had 4 orcs, and they dropped three players. So
lethal, yeah. I'm at the Beholder right now, looking right at petrification. Greater restoration spell or other magic once you've been petrified. You're just boned.
Yep.
I know a basilisk, I believe, is something similar. Yeah, same thing. But I think the problem too with the basilisk is they're going to eat you. So that's not going to happen either. You're like,
well, I mean, given if the party manages to bring down said adversary, you have a shot.
You have a shot. And then, like, again, I know we've mentioned this, but I love the flavor boxes, like the journal entries. No one carves statues of frightened warriors. If you see one, keep your eyes closed and your ears open.
Oh, I love that
X
one.
the mystic 4th rule of dungeon survival.
Yep.
So there's a lot of good stuff in this book.
I wholeheartedly agree. If you haven't picked up your monster manual, go get it. If for nothing else, the amount of ecology that's written in here is just a lot of fun to read.
Yeah, it's just a good read. Like, it's not, I hate this on 4th edition like this, but really, like, those monsters were like reading stereo instructions. This is like reading a book. And like I said, it just ferments so many ideas that you as a DM like, oh man, I so want to do this to my players.
And if some of the monsters that are in there, you have enough that you could build campaign worlds or campaigns, around so easily that it's just like, you got giants, you got Slod, you've got, you could have a genie war, you could have, issues between demons and devils, and all that stuff was out there before. But what is in the book, you're not running around trying to find these little nuggets of information.
Dude, it is endless.
It's right there.
Yeah, so, and again, you can change it and alter it, but it's nice that they give you a perspective to work off of.
Yep.
I mean, we could probably sit here and talk about the monsters in this book for hours and hours. But, the gist is there's a lot of cool abilities. They cover a lot of great monsters. The in-depth and thoroughness is very impressive. They run a wide gambit.
Yep.
There's monsters throughout every edition of the game in there. No new monsters.
I think that'll come, though.
Yeah. They still had, dude. They could still fill a couple books probably with monsters that didn't make it into this one, especially if they start doing like the variants.
Right.
But it's it's a good book. If you're going to be running a game, pick up this book.
So if you've read through and you have a favorite monster or a favorite ecology, put it in the comments below. While you're doing that, click like, subscribe, even share.
Yeah, and hey, you know what? If you don't like something they did to one of your favorite monsters, you can let us know that too. Where can they find us at? Facebook, Twitter, and at nerdarchy.com. So with that, until next time, my friends,
Stay nerdy.